store.designandmake.com. Let's head over to store.designandmake.com, type in what you're looking for, and then click Go. If you see what you're looking for, click it. Have a look through the project. Look at some of the single models that come along with the project. Have a look at the assembled layouts. A finished project. And then have a look at the project sheet. If you like what you see, go ahead and add it to your cart, make the purchase, download it, and install it. Let's start off by creating a new job. We're going to set up some basic dimensions for this. We're going to go ahead and move our datum. We're going to choose a very high resolution, and then we're going to choose our material that we'd like to view it in, and click OK. Let's go ahead, now that we have our Design and Make Skatepart project all installed, we can go ahead and find it in our Clipart tab. Let's have a look at the two assembled layouts and then some of the single models. Let's choose one of those assembled layouts to customize. In the 2D view, we can just simply size that up to be the right size that we need for our project. We'll have a look in the 3D view. Let's switch on Shadow Shade view, so that way we can get a better idea of the detail that's there. Let's go back to our 2D view for a second, and we're going to drag in some guidelines now so we can lay out some circles to put our text on. Let's draw a circle using those guidelines to make sure it's centered. We'll put in a nice sized circle there. We'll go ahead and start to type in some text. Over the top. That sounds like a good name for a skateboard shop. And then we're going to go ahead and see if we can find a font that's appropriate for this. That looks pretty good. Let's just go ahead and apply that bit of text to that curve or that circle. We can just rotate that around on the top. I think it can look a little bit better than that. So let's undo that. Let's go ahead and edit this text. Now that we have that on two different lines, we can go ahead and add in the in a smaller font. We'll break that up onto its own separate lines. And then we can do a quick little layout here to make sure it's going to look nice on those circles. That's kind of what I want right there. Let's go ahead now and put over on the line, position where we want it to be, just roughly. And we'll put top on the same line, again putting it just roughly where we want it to be. Then we're going to add in a new circle. We're going to copy this one so that we can put the in place where it belongs. Then we'll need to go in and change the letter spacing using our kerning tool here. And then once we're happy with that, we can start thinking about our next bit of text that we're going to put in. Okay, now we're going to need to copy those circles again. Make sure they're lined up at the top of the text. So now we can go ahead and add in the words skate shop. Just break those two words up onto their own lines again. Just testing the fit here right now. There we go. Put skate on this line on the bottom side, so we'll hang it off the bottom of that. We're going to use our offset distance to make sure that it hangs off the inside of that line, the right distance that we need. There we go, that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and put shop on that inside circle. And then line it up. Fix the kerning between some of those letters to make sure the spacing's right. And then make sure those are centered between the P in shop and also the skateboard. Now what we need to do is go ahead and put some text on the bottom of the board. So we're going to make sure that we adjust our component properties so that we can see the bitmap at its full transparency. Then we're going to go ahead and type in the text that we want to put on the bottom of the board. Again, choosing the font that we think is best going to be nice looking for this particular job. Roughly position it where it needs to be, size it down, and then move it out of the way just for a second. We're going to distort this between two lines. So we're going to go ahead and draw two lines. This will be sort of our guides for this distortion. We want it to sort of follow the way the bottom of the board is bent. So we're just going to turn those two lines into Beziers and sort that out. And the text, and we can apply that, and that looks great. We're just going to size it down a little bit so it fits in there better. And that looks pretty good. And now let's check out to make sure our shape height of our component is appropriate for the thickness of the material that we have. Let's go ahead and create some basic tooling for this. We're going to start off by getting a profile vector around our composite model or our layout. That looks really good. Check our material setup to make sure everything's fine. We'll start off by creating a roughing pass. That'll get rid of the majority of the material. Always preview our toolpaths to make sure they look right. If they don't, now's the time to change it. That looks really good. Let's go ahead now and do our finishing pass. Check all of our tool settings. We can go ahead now and calculate that. Preview that toolpath as well. That looks really great. I love all the detail that's there. So now let's move on to doing our V-carving. Make sure that we project that onto our 3D model. That's really important. And preview that visible toolpath. That looks great. Now let's do our profile cut. Making sure that we cut slightly through our material into our wasteboard. Add in some tabs so that we don't end up losing our part once it's all done. We can go ahead and calculate that. Preview it. Now let's save off our toolpaths and get onto the machine.